right, everybody. Hello. Welcome back to another session of our Tech Savvy series here at Vanguard. And today, as always, we are excited to bring you another expert in the field of our product line of home automation and what makes a home beautiful and what makes a home great. So the Tech Savvy series was built to bring you conversations like this to be your inside access to the future of living. We explore how cutting edge technology is reshaping the way we live, work, and connect by bringing you people like this, the top experts in luxury home technology and integration, to showcase what's possible when technology and design specifically come together. Today, we have Daniel all the way from Florida, which is very exciting. Daniel, thanks for being here.
Well, thank you. It's a great opportunity to participate. Thank you very much.
Yes, and thank you for making time. So let's just get right into the conversation. Not a lot of people yet know who you are and what you're all about. So give the audience maybe a full scope of who you are, what you do, what business you operate on, and go from there.
Okay, perfect. So I'm Daniel. I'm one of the founders of Magna, and besides leading international expansion of Magna, I'm the creative director of the brand. And Magna is a luxury residential audio manufacturer, and we try to combine design, performance, durability. And our products are made in Brazil, although I'm here from Florida talking. We operate with teams here in the US and also in Europe. And our goal is very simple. We try to make beautiful spaces look as good as they look.
Yeah, that's great. Tell me a little bit about you, Daniel. What's your life like? You live in Orlando, which is obviously, or sorry, in the Florida area, which is one of the more beautiful areas of the world. And we were just joking about how that's often a place that everyone loves to go outside of a lot of the state's areas. Give us a little bit more around maybe how you got into the business and a little bit more about your life.
Well, I live here in Florida for 4 years when we decided to expand internationally. We understood that rolling a business outside of Brazil, we gotta have local presence. So, of course, it is impossible to be in all the countries, but we try to be in the main gateways, and we selected the US as our first place to expand, as it's the presence of the US brands is like they are everywhere. So if you are able to be in the US market, this is the most competitive one. You'll probably have something good to show, and it's of course it's being a challenging here. It's a very very competitive space to be, but I believe we are doing a great job, and we are being able to get a very good dealer chain. So we are expanding to several other countries, but here's our base internationally. And well, we selected Florida because it's a place that is very easy to go back to Brazil, as one of my roles is to design the products. So I'm constantly traveling to Brazil to evaluating new materials, new designs, try new things so we can keep on innovating on this market. And is also a very good gateway. There are flights almost to everywhere. So my life is a little bit of traveling. If I'm not wrong, I was traveling for 28 weeks last year. So yes, family. Sometimes they get mad. The kids, oh, you're not home, Dad. So when I'm here, I try to enjoy some time with them. And it's a wonderful place to live.
And I hope they sometimes get to go to Brazil with you.
Well, not last year. The year before we went there. We took a trip for Europe this time to understand a little bit of the history of our country. We went to Portugal, so it was a very good connection too.
Oh, beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, wow. Very nice. Cool. So yeah, again, thank you again for being here with us and taking the time to do this. We really, really appreciate it. And we've been using these products now just very, very shortly over the last year. And so we're still getting to know the products. So this is educational for us as well, to get to know you a little bit more. And as we're sharing more things, we hope to share this with our clients along the way. Um, I just want to continue on with that, with what we were talking about just now, um, about how you got into the industry. I just want to know, how did you get started with Magna? What was the spark that made this happen? Um, and how long have you guys been at it?
Well, it's a good story. I was a dealer like you guys for about 20 years. Was working in the very high-end luxury marketing, and well, I was able to work in very good and big constructions in Brazil, apartments, houses, and everything was like we call the triple A. That's the most luxury homes of the country. And one thing that I always notice about audio is that even though the end user or mostly the designers and architects, they are not really comfortable with the design of the speakers. What everybody tries to do is to use like in ceiling stuff that they do not sound the best because they most of the time they are not in the best position in the room. And well, sometimes they look all the same. I used to say that we sell a grill. What is inside, what is playing, nobody knows. And when I had the opportunity to go to this market was when I met one of my competitors, and well, the guy was really crazy, like engineer that was designing his own speakers. But as a regular engineering, he was not the best one in design. So the product was sounding really good, but it was not beautiful as the other speakers in the market. And then he asked me to do this partnership, trying to open a new company because he wanted to put his product in the market. He was not the best one to do it, and my background was more like marketing, and I believe I do in a good way. And 6 years ago, we started Magna. So the idea was to get the quality of the products that he was being able to build, but bringing it to a much more friendly design that was going to be able to be evaluated to the designers, to the end users, and being really unique, not copying anyone. So that's our main idea, having a very good quality, durable product that can blend into the design in a way that everybody is happy and not when I was not in the time that when I was a dealer and nobody wanted to see like the black box over the rack.
Thanks. Thanks for that. I appreciate that. It's a I mean, first of all, I thought Magna was older than 6 years, so that's good to know. It feels, in my opinion, more established than 6 years. So kudos to the work you've done so far to make it that established brand in the industry. When you think about uh, what problem you were trying to solve, how would you sum that up? You kind of aired to a little bit, but if you were to put it into a couple sentences, when you started Magna and you worked with this specific engineer, what was the main problem you were both trying to solve together in the industry?
Well, the main problem was to get design with a good sound quality. So there was always this downside. So if you wanted something that it looks beautiful, usually it was not sounding good. If you want to do any type of customizations, we know that there are other companies that does that. You always have to give up on quality, and this is part of our DNA is bringing really good quality in products that really looks good, and also they are small because it's much easier to do speakers when you have space because the cabinet size matters a lot, mostly for bass. But we tried to do something a little bit different from the most part of the company. So getting smaller speakers that can do very, very good mids and highs, and then adding a subwoofer to every system. So then you have the full range experience, much better than regular speakers like 6 or even though 8 inch, that they are bigger, but they do not give the bass. So what we try to do is make the sound part of the decor, not only one piece that does not talk to everything else. That's why we have so many options in finishings that you can select between the colors of the cabinet, the fabric is, or even though different materials between aluminum, natural stones. So that's why we try to bring into life so people can get really happy with their sound too.
From what we've seen previously, you guys really have like a unique look. The speakers are very beautiful. Um, Actually, I met you guys at CEDIA in 2024, and I was actually shopping around the expo, looking for things that stood out and that designers would care about, and that would fit well into a luxury home, because we do have a lot of products that look the same. They sound great, but there wasn't anything that really stood out in a way that blended in with a luxury home in a meaningful way. So that's kind of what caught my eye. I want to find out who does the main designs for everything. Do you guys work with designers? Is it all your designs? And who finalizes that kind of process?
Well, mostly it's myself, but we do work with some designers. Like the Poly 360, we hired an Italian designer to help us out. And well, that was the really beginning of the company. I was still learning how to do that and all the tools that we could use to maximize the ideas. We have the Weasel, that is the Apito. It's a partnership, it's a co-branded product. There's a company in Brazil called Mula Preta. They do furniture design, and they had that piece, and we brought it to life to make it sounding really good. Now we have a team in Brazil of designers, but everything is driven from what I see in the future. But as they are, I think the oldest one is over 3 years with us already, and it's really good because he gets the things really easy. So we come up with the ideas, and sometimes the ideas come from their side. I just driven from what we believe that's gonna be something that will be successful. And what we try to do is not copying anyone. Of course, we did not invent the loudspeakers, but we try to be really unique and not do what the others are doing. So we got the microframed series, that is something new, and it's an in-ceiling speaker. We didn't come up with that idea, but we are doing that in a different way, instead of plasticky, using aluminum, several finishings, really time, size, comparing to what the others do. So we try to be as much as unique as possible in the market.
Yeah, I appreciate you airing to certain things in there because we were definitely going to get to some that stand out amongst, I think, everybody, and it's specifically the whistle one. It's called the Apito. Is that what you said?
Yeah, Apito is whistle in Portuguese. That's from the word.
Okay, perfect. Well, I'll showcase this in the clips that we end up sharing for this, but it's one of the most unique designs. And I think Trevor had mentioned he's experienced it as well. And so it was one of our first questions is how does somebody even come up with the idea of a speaker shaped as a big whistle? And I think you kind of aired to it in that it was a collaboration with a furniture design company. Is that correct?
Yes, and that was totally their idea. That was a concept that they did about 12 years ago, and they won a design award in Italy, including. But what they've done in the past was just like an assembling search of a JBL Bluetooth speaker and put inside. What happened is that, well, it was not made for that. Like 1 or 2 years after the product is in the market, it started to fail. It didn't sound as good, but they got to know about Magna in a showroom of a friend, and they really said, "Wow, those products are great. They're beautiful, and they also sound good." So they got our contact, and it was like 18 months of development. We made them increase a little bit the size of the cabinet so it could sound ideally, because there wouldn't be a space for a subwoofer. So we had to have the minimum bass coming from the unit. But as I said, my partner Luciano, the engineer guy, he's totally crazy, and he developed a subwoofer that could talk wirelessly through Bluetooth to the unit. So if you wanna, you can have a very strong bass. So last year, the party of the company for the end of the year, we had like two weasels and one subwoofer playing together, and it was like a big party, like 30, 40 people there in the factory, in a barbecue, and very loud sound with those two speakers and a subwoofer, just everything Bluetooth and battery power.
Hmm. Wow. That's that's very fascinating. I'm excited to bring that one to life in this conversation because it's one that isn't commonly found, and it's also, like you said, it's very design forward. But I appreciate the effort that's gone into it to maintain the quality. It's not just a statement piece in a room; it's actually a quality statement piece in the room, and it kind of bridges those two worlds together. I have one more question about the testing product side of things, and it's about the in sealing that you just mentioned, and it's a square versus a circle. So you guys have gone the square in sealing, which is, I mean, in our case and everything that we've seen is very much against the grain, right? Everyone is circle. It's very common. We have circles in here. We don't really have access to different shapes. I would be curious if someone decides to come up with a triangle. I don't know, but you guys decided to go with a square, and we're both very curious to understand what brought you to that decision instead of just going to the usual circle.
Okay, so our main market is still Brazil, and all over Brazil is a square lighting fixture. So the idea is to match over there. Also, we look a lot for Europe designs, some German designs, and everything that is coming to the market is also square. So I know North America is really oriented to round lighting fixture or speakers, although some of the manufacturers they offer square grills. What I see from our customers here is like California and Miami areas, they are going for square lighting too. So for the beginning, we decided to go square, but we'll probably come up with something maybe to the mid of the year that is going to be round too.
I will say having a different option is great, but also I really do love that there's different materials that go into it. So again, like it's just completely different and it looks great. And I haven't heard these ones yet, but I did hear the whistle at the show, and it does actually catch your eye, and it sounds really well. Sounds really good as well. Um, I guess while we're kind of on this topic of Brazil being the main market, and with Florida where you live, and then you're kind of using Florida as a bit of a hub, it sounds like, for growing the business. How do you find the differences in the markets? I'm assuming the markets for those are like they may have some similarities, but they're probably pretty different. Like Brazil, you guys looking at you want to match the pictures in squares, so you have square grills, and in the States and up here in Canada, we're always used to just having some circles. We call them rounds. And so how does how do the markets compare?
Well, as we sell in several countries, there's a lot of local needs that everyone wants to fulfill. We try to cover that using customization, because everything that we do, we can do custom. Like if you want a micro frame and now that is round, we can work directly for it. There will be an additional cost for sure, but because we will have to make all the drawings, put our engineering team to work on this prior to the development of the series. That whenever we do it, it will be for sure spread to all the lines, so won't cost the same. But we try to go as local as possible. But what we've seen here in the U.S. In North America, they see us most as an outdoor company. I don't know if it's just because of we are really high performance considering the same size of the products and solutions, or because we use materials that they are much more durable than regular plastic that most of the industry does. But that's what happening here. Maybe big houses, big backyards, and then it makes it easier for less speaker to cover and get a very full range solution. But it's hard. If we would do like what everybody wanted, we still have a very big product line for 6 years. But if we do everything that everybody wanted, it will be a crazy series of products. But we are trying to improve, and we listen to the feedback from the dealers and designers from everywhere, and it helps a lot in the development of the new products too.
Yeah, appreciate that. I'm curious to know, beyond that, if you've noticed anything specific coming out of the market differences in Canada. So obviously, we are, if I'm not mistaken, we are the only certified distributor in Canada for you right now. Is that still correct?
Yes, for now, we've been talking to some companies, but so far we are focusing on you guys. And well, from all the talking that we are having, it's good that Canada looks more design oriented than the US companies. It looks like the Americans are not caring so much with the design. It's more about performance. And maybe this is why we look to other US brands, and when you're comparing finishing, well, we are way above from what they deliver. Maybe the end user does not care a lot about this, and maybe that's why we are doing better in areas like Miami or California, because they are maybe one step ahead from the rest of the country.
So about the industry in general, because you've been in the industry for a while. You said you were an integrator before, and you kind of started your own thing here that you're doing really well at. So from the time you began to now, have you noticed any big changes or any how has the industry evolved since the time you've been around?
Well, being really honest, I don't see a very big evolution focusing on the sound side. What I remember for now it's the invisible speakers. I understand they are much more popular than they were in the past, and they are very good solutions when you don't want to see from where the sound is coming. But I also know that maintenance is sometimes an issue. People usually sell their house after 3, 4, 5 years. They move to a new one, and then there's a renovation, and they like screw up all the speakers that are inside the ceiling, so it's hard in terms of maintenance for that. But in the sound, in the audio industry, I don't see a lot of changes. Maybe that's why we dive it so in this market, trying to bring something totally different from what everybody's doing.
Yeah, it's kind of the energy that I get from experience at Magna as well, is this attempt to kind of get out of the normal scope of how things are normally operating and trying to, not necessarily reinvent the wheel, but just make sure that quality remains, but design isn't affected in a negative way. And it's, usually what we have found so far is that if the design of it is going to be a focal point and they also want to keep performance, then it like 10x's the size and it also 10x's the cost. So everything gets very extreme. And from what I understand about what you guys have provided, you have been able to kind of do the strong design focus, which we've loved so far. Again, the differences in mesh colors is huge, which a lot of people don't necessarily consider, but to only have a white in ceiling speaker for a lot of companies is very limiting. And sometimes we have to paint things because there's literally no other option. So for Magna to provide that is huge. But then at the same time, the performance doesn't change when you're in putting it in the in ceiling or you're putting it in an outdoor space. Sounds like you have been able to beat the difference without extending the cost to something super extreme. Sounds like you've been conscious of it all. Is that fair to say?
Yes, we try to make it simple, and one good part that we do not sell like thousands and thousands of speakers is because we don't need to do any type of investments in tooling and everything. So although we use a lot of machines to do like CNC and stuff, it's something that is like it requires a lot of personal experience in the product, and it's like having some handmade product, but with not the downside of costing that much. So we are able to get like smaller volumes, smaller orders, but it's still being able to deliver it in a very reasonable price.
Yeah, I appreciate that. And it's one of the values that we have brought to the table for some of our clients as well, as the full scope is what you've considered. In the journey of creating that and putting all of these pieces of the puzzle together so that Magna can be, an incredibly strong competitor in the market. Naturally you're going to come up against barriers, hurdles, things that are going to stop you or get in the way, or maybe somebody that tries to copy you or tries to, compete with you at a high level. From your experience so far in the last 6 years, what have you noticed or what have you experienced so far as your biggest hurdles in the business and in the market so far?
Well, it's to educate the dealers and the end users in terms of what can be done in using small speakers and design ones. In most of the cases, very successful dealers, they are used to do what they've been doing for 10, 20 years. And why would they change? my feeling is that the market evolves, and you gotta always look for something that will deliver a better experience for your customers. So every time they had a past experience with that, with customization or doing something that it's outside of the box, they usually understood that they had to give up about quality, and that is something that we try to keep it in. It's very important for us. So people don't believe that they will hear a so good quality sound when they see those speakers. It's the same that you guys said, the Weasel. Even me, first time then when I played, I was shocked. Whoa, this is so good from what I was expecting when we were designing it. For the market, it's the most difficult part. And not only custom integrators, but also for architects and designers. They are not expecting that, and they are really focused on deliver the best for their customers. After we show what we can do, and it's a really fast adopting of the brand inside the dealer.
That's very good. I wanted to see where you think that where do you see, or where would you like Magna to be in the next 5 to 10 years as you continue to grow the business?
Yeah, our idea is to become more and more global. So we are here in the US, growing. Still is low in Canada, but we are already strong in Middle East and in a few countries of Europe. We now, with our exhibition at ISE in Barcelona, we hope that we can expand to Asia and grow in other countries in Europe too. My vision is that we will be a big global company, delivering a lot of possible audio solutions all over the world. Whenever we get that size, we will be able to bring more to the customers, and also we will be able to maybe lower the price and making it more affordable too.
And so now we got all that out of the way, and we're hoping to grow with you guys. We're hoping to continue to support the brand, and we're hoping to get more of this stuff into our client sites as we work with more and more designers, and we're getting more forward in that way. Um, for our clients and designers, they always ask us questions, um, when we're quoting things out or when we're planning these projects with them, or why should we go with this, or, why is this the best option? And we give them our take on it, and it's usually good enough, but it can always be better. So right from the source, if I was going to tell somebody why choose this over something else, what would you say to them?
Well, first is design and high performance. When it matters, I see just a few companies in the world that can deliver the same what we do. Most audio brands, they come just from a technical mindset. If look is important, you gotta go with Magna. So I would say this is the main. And going to the outdoor, durability is key. So all the materials that we use, they must last a lot. And it's very good to be a global company that we have products installed in the desert in Middle East, and also in areas like Canada, where we got a very big dealer in Ohio. He's been with us for over 3 years. This is our third winter in Ohio with a lot of snow. Product it lasts a lot. Those are the main points that I would bring to a customer so they can select Magna.
On that note, I appreciate you sharing the longevity of the product because the outdoor series is one of the ones that pulled me in to the product initially. You guys have put a lot of effort into that. Naturally, being from Brazil, you're more outside than you are inside in most cases. So outdoor is a quality piece. And in Florida, same conversation. We don't necessarily have the same luxury always here. We have a limited scope of summer months here in Calgary, but the outdoor space design and functionality is growing at a pretty high rate right now for us. And so one of the ones that we love that we're still trying to, let's say, get people on board with is the Oasis. So the Oasis series or the Oasis piece is a very unique piece. I'm not going to try to speak to it, but can you tell the audience more about this specific product and how it came to be?
Well, it's very funny because it was developed here like for Florida. When I moved here 4 years ago, I was getting to know people, going to neighborhoods, and something that really caught my attention was every house in Florida they have a fire pit, and it's really warm. Although today it's cold here, it's totally different. It was snowing yesterday in the north of Florida, but everybody has a fire pit in their backyard. And they are not beautiful. They are just like brick fire pit, and they cost a ton of money. So my idea was, what if we could get a very beautiful piece of furniture that you can also move around if you want it, but it can act like a speaker and a fire pit. So that was the beginning of the development, and I think we were able to get to a very beautiful design that lasts a lot with woven cords that they are using the marine side. So sometimes people ask us, how do I do maintenance? You just pressure washer the product. So it lasts. It's really something to last a lot. And it combines a high-end performance and this luxury design into something that you bring the family together to be all around it. So I have one in my backyard, and when it gets a little bit less hot, not as cold as today, I don't want to go outside when it's 0, but we do like marshmallows and all this stuff. It's really fun, and the sound is great, and there's no downside of the installations, no cables, nothing. You just have to plug in power because it's or Bluetooth or Wi-Fi through the AirPlay or Google Cast. So it's really easy to be installed, and you can install in every customer. And the design is appealing. So it's one of my favorite pieces.
It was the first thing of your products that I saw. Actually, I heard it first walking around the floor, and it brought me over. I was like, "What is that?" It's like very loud, very bassy, and I couldn't quite get where it was coming from. And I saw some people gathered around, and I really focused in, and I was like, "I think that fire pit's playing really good music." Um, and yeah, it was crazy. We really love the design of that, and I still have trouble wrapping my head around fireplaces in Florida outside. I know here, so we're hoping to do a bunch of them soon here. But it's funny that they have them up down in Florida as well.
Yeah, it's really funny. Every house fire pit, fire pit. They use it once or twice a year, but they have it.
Yeah, the accessibility for sure. Speaking to something like the Oasis, and then we also talked about the whistle, and we talked about some of the square functionality for the ceiling. You guys been around for 6 years now. You've been moving through different types of products, different types of speakers. You've grown a lot over the last 6 years. What have you noticed is either the most common or most popular product over the last 6 years, or has there one that shocked you that started to become the most popular, and why do you think that they've become that way?
Well, the whistle is something that calls everybody attention, but what sells more in our line is the Poly series. I think we started the company. It was not our first line, but due to the pandemic, I'm not sure how it was here in the US or Canada because you guys usually already live a lot in houses, but we were down there in Brazil, in São Paulo. It's a huge city, but everybody live in apartments. And what started to happening on that time was that people were moving to the suburbs for houses, and even though the ones that lived in houses, they were looking bigger houses, and then everybody was at their homes, and they wanted to enjoy the live at least outside and in their backyard, as everybody was not being able to go everywhere. So on that point, outdoor audio was becoming more popular, and that's how we start growing faster. And the product that sells better itself is the Poly 240 and 360. And I believe it's because, well, from the dealer side, it's just one piece. It's also easier to install, although it requires cable and an amplifier, but it's not like spreading 8 speakers plus another subwoofer in the backyard, so it's much easier for everyone. It's also very easy to demo, so the dealers take the product to the customer's backyard. Sometimes they spend a weekend with these, and then in Monday, okay, I want to install it because I don't want to return. It was really fun to have a party with this product over the weekend. But also the design, it calls attention, looks like a pole, and it has integrated lighting. This is still our best selling one. I believe the in-ceiling speakers will grow a lot this year, but the Poly series is still our best selling.
You've done such a good job. You've answered so many of our other questions in the midst of your questions, so it's great. Very, very informative so far. So now, as we move into the future of Magna, obviously one of our main focal points is being ahead of the game, being, the vanguard, if you will, of products, of systems of integration, and so Magna is coming across or through to us today as that same kind of perspective. You want to be moving forward constantly. You want to be global, and that's going to ask a lot of you guys. And so I'm curious to know what that looks like this year, specifically what is coming down the pipeline, if you can share, that you're really excited about or you're looking forward to.
Oh, of course. Well, something that I'm really excited about is the new Brutalist series. It's a series of speakers made of concrete. Okay, so there's going to be several finishes, not only natural. We're going to have some color options, but it's not painted concrete. It's inside it. So if you break it, it will be the same colors, and it will last forever outside because it will not lose color because it's not painted. And besides the subwoofers, what I'm really excited is to the Passway. It's a satellite. It was designed to be used sometimes as a Passway lighting. A lot of dealers have asking about this type of solution for us so they can bring audio to big houses where they have pathways and stuff. So it's a mix of sound and lighting. I've seen the design. We are about to release that in March, and it sounds incredible, and it's really, really beautiful. As the Brutalist is made of concrete, you can put it inside the walls, and then you just see the lighting and won't be able to tell from where the sound is coming from. In addition, we are also releasing the Aura Cylinder series that they will sit directly on the floor. They will look like a round sign table. There will be subwoofers and full range versions, and the top of it will be concrete or natural stone. So I believe it's a new innovative product that mixes with furniture that will be able to be blended in a lot of places. And lastly is our microframe array versions. So you can use that in home theaters or in wall. And we are bringing the Nano series that is actually the same concept, but with much smaller drivers. They got a little bit more than 2-inch wide. So it's that trend that brings tiny speakers to the homes that you still see in them, but really small versions, and they sound incredible for their size.
Wow.
Yeah, sorry, I had a I didn't want to jump too ahead. I'm sure you were going to point it out, but I got to know, like, are the concrete ones heavy? Like, how does my mind says like I'm hoofing this thing into the wall, but I'm sure design functionality, maybe it rolls, maybe it's not as heavy as I'm thinking. Can you give me more context around that?
Yes, well, they are heavy, not as heavy as the Rock series that are natural stone, but they are pretty heavy. But that satellite, I would say it weighs about 12, 13 pounds. Well, in Canada, it's pounds or kilos. Okay, so I would say it's about 13 pounds if I'm not wrong. So they got the depth of, I think, 8 inches. So you can put in, well, at least here in Florida, the outside walls, they are not as slim as the drywall. So there's space for you to put it then in. And you just see like a small part in there where the light will come from. And of course the sound, but you won't be seeing that sound this way.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
very
again,
cool.
trying to bring unique solutions to the market.
Yeah, we can't wait to see some of these up close. It's like everything's just different, and I'm sure it's gonna sound great once it's out. And yeah, we're excited to see where everything is gonna go. It's very different. So I got my last question for you is you are building your dream home. I'm assuming maybe you are because you're living in Florida and got nice weather, so you might be living in your dream home. But let's pretend you're not. You get to build everything from the ground up, and you get to pick kind of whatever you want and to go into your home. What are you gonna be picking to put into your dream home? And it can't be from Magna, or it can be from any other line. But what are you gonna be focusing on in there to get you what you want?
Well, that's is a hard question to answer. I don't have one specific favorite product. I love the Oasis. Of course, it's gonna be there. But well, about 15 years ago, I built my first apartment when I met my wife. And what I tried to do on that time was to bring that customization into the house. So on that time, I didn't have Magna. And what I was able to do is to use the face plates from an Italian brand. In every area of the house, I had one. So now that Magna is available, I would try to use those speakers that way. For example, in the entry hall, I will have like the Surfaces 1500 that I believe they look gorgeous and they would bring sound when I'm having a party and right in the entrance of the house. For lighting, I would bring from Brazil for sure the no frame lighting, and I would pair my no frame series with those speakers. And but for subwoofer, I would be using the Rock series. I really love how they look, how they can be also side tables, or people when they see the subwoofer, they don't understand that it's an audio solution. They think it's a piece of art. So I would for sure use the same stone from the flooring, even though if I need to customize anything, we can do that in Magna. And outside for sure I would have the polys and in a corner the Oasis.
You brought up a good point there, and it sounds like you're gonna have like the party house with all of the music and everything's gonna be beautiful and party centric. You brought up a good point that I don't think we touched on enough is customization. Customization is really big for you guys. Like you mentioned, the stone that you have for the Rock series, and that you can get stone to match the rest of your house, the flooring, the walkways, and stuff like that. How do you guys, how did you come up with the customization options? How, and who decides what goes where? Is that all still you? Can you speak to the customization a little bit?
Well, I pick the most of the finishes, although I have a team that always bring me suggestions, and I try to be pretty open because I know that something that I really like maybe is not the more commercial one. So that's why I try to be really open. But we can customize almost any product from our line. So from that Rock series, last year one of our dealers, they built an outdoor cinema for the royal family in Saudi Arabia, and they used the F66 and the subwoofers for that. And on that project, they were gonna use the Italian Roman travertine, but they found out that the sample that we have was lighter than the color that they had there already in the house. So what we've done, they sent us a piece of the floor. We searched locally there in Brazil one slab that was going to match the color, and we were able to do the speakers with the same tone of the stone that they have over there. Now they have a second project and they want to use a specific different stone. So we are sending them some samples from the slabs that we have available, and they will validate that, and then we will build the speakers from using the stones that they really wanted. So we can go this level of customization if needed, okay?
I mean, that's a pretty cool story. And I appreciate that we asked that question because, yeah, you're right. Like the customization is huge. It's only growing in popularity. So thank you for giving us the insider info on what's really possible because it sounds like it really does expand into different worlds that we don't even expect. So that was pretty cool. But that does bring us to a close for the conversation today. So, Daniel, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your insight and introducing our audience to Magna Audio. Is there anything else that you want to share about Magna before we close?
No, I think it was a great conversation. Thank you, Atlas. Thank you, Trevor, Vanguard. It was a pleasure to be here, and I'm open to another invite. And if you guys want to add anything else, just let me know.
You got it.
I
I
appreciate that.
appreciate that.
Thank you.
So that brings us to an end. Thank you so much, everybody, for watching. Thank you for being here. This has been your inside access to the future of living. Cutting edge technology has come your way today, and we are excited to bring you more. So we'll see you in the next episode. Make sure to like, subscribe, and let us know what you thought. And if there is something about Magna that you love, or if you have any questions, let us know. We have the expert in our back pocket. So thanks for watching. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you.